Hello and welcome to this edition of Culture Mosaic. In this edition, we will discover 3 very different topics. Have you ever witnessed the art of weaving shrimp traps? Probably not. Do you know that through learning about this craft, we can learn a lot about the culture and the people of a mountainous village in Yên Bái province? Our culture and lifestyle will give you more insight on this. Moving on to music, let's see how classical music, a genre of music originating from the West, is being promoted in Vietnam by a French artist who has a very special connection to Vietnam. Last but not least, how can board game, a Western-originated game, can tell stories of Vietnamese culture? Let's learn more in our Connecting Cultures this week. Weaving shrimp traps is also an art and will amaze you with all of the meticulousness. Let's talk to a French artist to find out more how he has embraced the Vietnamese culture and classical music to promote this genre in Vietnam. How can board game, a Western-originated game, tell the story of Vietnamese culture? Let's learn more in our Connecting Cultures this week. Fans of fashion in Ho Chi Minh City were impressed by the hundreds of fascinating designs created by Vietnamese designers shown during the 4-day Aquafina Vietnam International Fashion Week, or AVWF 2020, which closed on Sunday night. 17 Vietnamese designers presented collections of evening gowns, suits, streetwear, and áo dài, or Vietnamese traditional dresses for adults and children. The designs are made with high-quality materials, including metallic fabrics, silk, organza, lace, and velvet, with hand-embroidered and printed patterns. The Vietnam International Fashion Week was first held in 2014 and has become the leading fashion event in Southeast Asia and the 4th biggest fashion week in Asia after Tokyo, Seoul, and Shanghai Fashion Weeks. 3 young Vietnamese artists won prizes at the Mnet Asian Music Awards, or MAMA 2020, on Sunday night in Seoul. Rapper Binz the Poet was named Best Asian Artist Vietnam. Binz has had an extremely successful 2020, alongside his smash hit Big City Boy topping 67 million views on YouTube alone. The 20-year-old Amy is the youngest Vietnamese artist to win a MAMA award, the Best Choreographer of the Year's award, which was handed out for the first time in the 21-year history of the MAMA, was given to Quang Dang thanks to his dancing together with live dance group. Early December, singer Đoan Trang released a new MV titled Hôm nay mẹ trực đêm, or Today Mother Was on Night Duty, featuring her daughter. The song was composed by musician Hoàng Hiệp, dedicated to the frontline doctors during the COVID-19 pandemic. Little Sol, Đoan Trang's 6-year-old daughter, sang a duet with her mother for the first time. In the MV, the mother and daughter, together with the dancers, portray the image of white angels. They fight the pandemic day and night, 24/7, regardless of the weather condition. They become resilient when thinking about the safety of their community and families. A video showing people how to protect themselves from COVID-19 made by the Ministry of Health is among the most trending on YouTube this year in Vietnam. 5 things to do to prevent COVID-19, uploaded in April, has been seen more than 23.5 million times, third only behind music parody video Thank You Everyone by Hậu Hoàng and episode 1 of web drama Old Father by comedian Trấn Thành. The list of top creators is headed by rising streamer Độ Missy with his channel Missy Gaming, followed by comedian and TV host Trấn Thành with his Trấn Thành Town channel. Recently, a documentary about composer Trần Tiến by young director Lan Nguyen has just been released, titled Màu cỏ úa, or The Pale Color of the Grasses. The documentary depicts a romantic personality along with famous sayings drawn from the life of the composer himself. With a duration of 80 minutes, the pale color of the grasses has faithfully portrayed the image of composer Chen Tien through everyday moments when singing, drinking, and talking. With nostalgic black and white as the main color tone, the documentary is filled with memories of his generous sharings as a songwriting nomad about Hanoi and about the war. These are factors that, according to director Lan Nguyen, has affected the life as well as music of this famous composer. An exhibition entitled 24 Hours on the Street and portraying the daily struggle of street kids is underway at Vietnam Women's Museum in Hanoi, covering 3 themes: good old days, 24 hours on the street, and back to a peaceful place. The exhibition is like a movie, capturing the journey of street kids and the emotions they rarely share with anyone. The exhibition is being held under a plan from the Vietnam Women's Union to promote women's participation in addressing women-related issues in the 2017-2027 period. The exhibition is also online. Actress Harry won Miss Universe Vietnam He Han Nie, TV host Công Tố, and some other celebrities met in Hà Giang province as ambassadors to spread the message to prevent child marriage in the program called Children Are Not Brides. Children Are Not Brides is a project that helps children in mountainous areas to understand gender knowledge, as well as skills in filming, photography, and communication. From there, they will become child ambassadors, helping their relatives and friends to have more awareness about not getting married earlier than what the law permits. Through skits, games, media works, the celebrities have helped people in Quảng Bình district, Hà Giang province in particular, as well as other mountainous areas in general, have more awareness to prevent child marriage. Tch Ba Lake, one of Vietnam's largest artificial lakes in Yên Bình district, Yên Bái province, has very rich aquatic resources. Therefore, people living in the vicinity of the lake, such as in Phúc An Commune, have formed their own craft to weave shrimp traps and sell them to places where they need it. Not only bringing economic benefits, the craft also weaves deeply into the culture of the local people as a way of showing ingenuity and meticulousness. Let's find out more in our culture and lifestyle this week.
Phúc An Commune in Minh District in Bai Province is known as a place where locals treasure their time like gold. They save time so much so that there's even a market known as the shortest one in Vietnam. The market mainly sells shrimp traps and materials to make this kind of tool. It's open twice a week on Thursday and Sunday. Each market only runs for 2 to 3 hours and ends at sunrise. Why is everyone here in such a hurry? The reason is because this place is next to a large hydroelectric lake. Phúc An Commune is located next to Tch Ba Lake, which is a hydroelectric lake that was completed in 1971. Ever since the water level of the lake rose, it has created beautiful scenery, as well as become an extremely rich source of seafood, especially shrimp. Since the lake was built, 2 jobs have emerged here, which are shrimp catching and shrimp trap weaving. These 2 jobs are associated with each other because in deep water areas like Tch Ba Lake, the best way to catch shrimp is by using shrimp traps like this.
Tôm được nhiều không? Cái dọ được bằng này tôm mà. 100 cái là được 2 cân ngay. 1000 dọ là được 20 cân tôm ngay, có gì đâu.
Every day, each fisherman in Phúc An releases a few hundred or even 1,000 trapping baskets. This job is time-consuming and laborious, so they have to remain at the lake all day to get their work done. In the afternoon, they put the bait in the basket and then drop it into the water. Early next morning, they collect the shrimp and sell it. For people here, the trapping baskets is a very important tool that is suitable for catching shrimp in deep water and is safe for the lake's ecosystem. This is why in Phúc An Commune, in addition to shrimp catching, Dong Tâm village in the commune is also famous for making trapping baskets.
Là dọ làng nghề Đồng Tâm đánh vừa được tôm vừa bền, đánh được 4 tháng cơ. Nhưng mà dọ bình thường chỉ đánh được 2 tháng rưỡi.
After leaving Tch Ba Lake, let's visit the villages around the lake to discover the secret behind how they make such durable shrimp traps. A strange thing we notice when visiting the village is that in the place where people treasure time, women like to gather and chat.
Ở nhà làm thì buồn lắm. Đây thì ngồi nói chuyện đi, bởi vì đông người này nói chuyện nó vui, đan nó được nhanh. Mình xem tivi, tay mình cắn mình nhưng mà chỉ.
Tên tôi là Hoàng Thị Dung. Quê tôi ở Xuân Long, cách đây khoảng 45 km. Tôi về đây làm dâu, về xã Phúc An này làm dâu. Từ ngày tôi về đây làm dâu thì tôi mới học cái nghề đan dọ này. Nói chung là cái nghề đan dọ này thì cũng rất là dễ. Thế nhưng mà cái là phải kiên trì, ngồi nhiều và nghề này nó rất đau lưng, mà kiếm tiền thì nó cũng chả là được nhiều lắm.
Indeed, shrimp basket weaving takes time to learn. There are various stages required in making a basket, like splitting and sharpening bamboo, and weaving the basket's lead and body. Every step requires meticulousness. On average, it takes 15 minutes to make a basket. A person can even make 40 baskets per day. The quality of baskets made here is better than in other places because locals weave tighter, use more materials, and take longer.
Mình ghép cái hòm ngắn ấy vào trong ấy thì phải kín, thì tôm nó không ra mới bắt được tôm. Còn cứ lỏng lẻo cứ ghép vào đấy đan thì không. Dọ muốn đẹp hòm không kín nó không được tôm.
Bà ơi, hôm nay bà bán cho bao nhiêu đấy?
45.000 một chục.
Ra được bao nhiêu cái?
100.
100 à? Kiếm tiền thế mới được.
Mà một tuần đấy mới được đấy.
Bà làm chậm thế.
Bà già rồi bà làm thế là được rồi. Tuần mới được là 100 giỏ ấy.
It is said that the weaving profession is a job that helps people earn money through hard work. This is why people rarely travel far from their locality. They even go to the market in a hurry and always value their time.
Nói chung là đến vùng Phúc An của chúng tôi á, học đan dọ ấy, sẽ nâng cao cái tính kiên nhẫn lên, vừa được có tiền này lại vừa vui này.
Quê tôi sớm tinh mơ, tiếng gà gọi cha vác cuốc ra đồng. Ai đem nắng nắng đầy núi bay, cháy những giọt mồ hôi.
When we talk about classical music, we often think of orchestras with classical instruments that are played in extravagant rooms and theaters. But in Vietnam, classical music is loved by people of all ages and can also be played and practiced in villages and cultural houses. This has inspired French artist Francois to create a personal project that promotes the classical music scene here in Vietnam. Even more special, he's 1/4 Vietnamese. Let's chat with artist Francois and learn about his journey of creating this project in this segment of On the Mic.
Classical music played in auditoriums and theaters by professional musicians and artists and enjoyed by mature audiences. This same classical music is learned and played by children in communal houses in the countryside. These are some of the different colors and facets of classical music in Vietnam. These interesting contradictions have inspired Francois, a young Frenchman, to take on a personal project, a documentary that explores the classical music scene in Vietnam.
Thank you so much for joining our show today.
Thanks, it's a pleasure.
We have just seen a short introduction of your personal project on classical music in Vietnam. I'm very interested to learn more about it. So can you please tell us more?
I have two main ideas.
Okay.
First idea is to change the idea of classical music, especially in Western countries, but also in Vietnam, classical music is being like old-fashioned and a little bit boring sometimes. And about Vietnam, I did work for a travel agency here, and it was always the same content, always the same things about Vietnam, and I want also to change the image of Vietnam. So it's two different things in the same movie. I want people to be more interested in classical music, to be more out of the box, more fun, more even entertaining.
So how did you research on this project?
When I arrived, I met Luduc Ang, pianist. So I learned a lot from him, and then he connected me with Hona Tetsuji, the conductor of the VNSO, National Orchestra here. And thanks to Hona, I met nearly all the musicians here. But even in Vietnam, I went to Saigon with him, and I met Tak, the conductor of the HBSO, Saigon Orchestra. And now it's like a family, like it's, you know, it's a very small world, classical music.
So what are some challenges that you face when doing this project?
COVID, yeah, a lot of people, they're not available, they don't want to meet, you know, even if you have the mask. Several months I was alone in that project, but I was working alone, so I have to organize everything alone, and even for my budget, I gotta teach French or English. I gotta find some job, and at the same time I invest for video production stuff. Yeah. But being in Vietnam, of course, I miss my family a little bit, and my friends, and of course the language. Em nói tiếng Việt một chút. Em học tiếng Việt 3 tháng rồi, nhưng mà đây là rất khó.
Francois Bipon was born and grew up in France. He learned classical music at a young age and has an educational background in music and history. Francois has been returning to Vietnam since December 2018. Aside from tracing his family roots as his grandmother is Vietnamese, music has also been his reason for coming back. Vietnam is where Francois found his passion for filmmaking. Though he started his documentary project at the beginning of 2020 alone, he's no longer lonely on his journey. There are always friends who are willing to help him with his project.
Bạn ấy có giải thích cho mình là ở bên Pháp đúng là có rất nhiều người nghĩ là ở Việt Nam chỉ có đồng ruộng này, chỉ biết về đồng ruộng chiến tranh, rồi nghĩ là ở Việt Nam là một đất nước về sự phát triển văn hóa xã nghệ thuật thì hầu như là không có gì. Thì cái ý kiến của bạn ấy cũng rất là hay, tức là để cho người Pháp biết là, và không chỉ có người Pháp mà những người khác ở trên thế giới biết là ở Việt Nam nhạc cổ điển nó đang được hình thành như thế nào và đang được phát triển như thế nào. Cái hay ở đây là bởi vì là bạn ấy cũng có một thời gian ở Việt Nam rồi, cho nên là bạn ấy gặp rất nhiều người Việt Nam và bạn ấy có thể hiểu được là nếu mà mình không nói cùng một ngôn ngữ với nhau, nhưng mà nhiều khi âm nhạc có thể nói ra rất nhiều thứ.
Yeah, I was very curious to discover this side of Vietnam. I live here since 2 years now. We met different places. I could never know if I didn't know Francois first. And yeah, it's a very good experience, and I learned many kind of other part of Vietnam faces.
Your grandmother is Vietnamese, right? Were you close to her, and do you recall any memories of you and her in the past?
Yeah, obviously, I was very close to her because actually she was the only grandparents I had. Yeah, but I didn't know so much about Vietnam. Yeah, we never went to Vietnam together, and even my dad, so the son of my grandmother, he went to Vietnam after she died. Everything was beautiful. Like, she cooked very well. But she cooked Vietnamese food, but also French food very well. Yeah, she was like very small, very cute. She influenced because it's also like there's this idea of doing a tribute or making a gift, something like this.
What have you learned in the process of making this documentary?
I had to learn Vietnamese language. I learned about TV production, about camera, and also about Vietnamese culture a lot. Yeah, I traveled thanks to classical music.
During his journey to discover the beauty of classical music in Vietnam, Francois has interviewed over 30 local and international artists. Apart from big cities, he has also traveled to lesser-known places on the classical music map, such as Bắc Giang and Nam Định. Through each artist's viewpoint, classical music can be understood in different ways. However, one thing they have in common is that all these artists see the huge potential of Vietnam's classical music scene.
The atmosphere is quite vibrant, and there are lots of positive energy going on here. So much room to grow and develop, especially in the musical scenes.
Being an artist, you see that. It's really encouraging. Like, as you said, when we do Siam, right, you need the energy coming back from the audience too. And you could really feel it from the audiences from this city, this country. Really amazing.
There's many young musicians that have a spirit to make something interesting and new, and I'm really lucky that I'm here in this moment. All musicians here is very open-minded and very welcoming. So I'm really happy to involve all the many projects and the concerts.
So, from what you've learned and observed, what are your thoughts on the classical music scene in Vietnam?
I met a lot of music managers in classical music, and they have so many projects, but very young people, and they used to study abroad maybe. They come back here in Vietnam and they're launching new projects. Classical music is more and more important in Vietnam, and even the government is more and more interested in classical music. A lot of new orchestras. I think it's a new golden age in classical music here. And a lot of new projects with a brand new generation of musicians. And there's a new energy, a positive atmosphere in classical music. So this is something I noticed.
What is the most interesting thing that you've learned in Vietnam?
There's something very interesting. I try to make a connection between Vietnamese language and classical music, because Vietnamese language have different tones, and also this idea of staccato sounds and legato. To learn Vietnamese, you need to use the same vocabulary of classical music. So I really this is very interesting to understand that, and maybe Vietnamese people, maybe I'm wrong. It's maybe classical musicians in Vietnam have a musical skill already. Maybe they're not aware of that, but I think so. Vietnamese language is more, it's a lot of music, yeah.
So thank you so much for joining our show today.
Board games have been a stable entertainment for many people around the world in their daily life or at festive times. In Vietnam, board games have attracted young people who have not only formed communities of players, but also created or adapted games with unique Vietnamese cultural features. We'll find out more about how these games are telling stories of Vietnamese culture and the creators behind them.
This Monopoly board is like no others. While the long-standing, well-renowned Monopoly game is about trading properties, here in Saigon-opoly and Hanoi-opoly, players are investing in Vietnamese food stalls and restaurants. They will move these plastic chairs, the micro versions of those seen along the streets of Hanoi and Ho Chi Minh City, from one famous street vendor to the next. Unsure if a business is worth the investment? Flip the relevant card to read more about its history and development. Created by a team of Ho Chi Minh City born and raised designers, Saigon-opoly and Hanoi-opoly are a tribute to unique street-side food venues in each city. The games bring nostalgia to current residents and those far from home, but also invite visitors.
Mình chọn ra những cái địa điểm mà mình thực sự rất là thích ở hai thành phố, và những cái hình ảnh mà theo mình là những cái hình ảnh nó rất là đặc trưng. Tức là khi mà mình đi đến những cái hàng quán, những cái quán vỉa hè đều là những cái hình ảnh rất là dễ thương, mộc mạc. Khi mà người ta nhìn vô là người ta biết là đây là địa điểm này, và người ta nghĩ là cảm thấy thực sự là đang dạo xung quanh hai thành phố và đến từng địa điểm nổi tiếng của hai thành phố, và Và mình nghĩ là nếu mà một người lạ chưa vào đến thành phố thì khi mà chơi với bộ cờ này, người ta sẽ muốn đến thử những cái địa điểm này.
Not only adapting international games, Vietnamese creators realized that Vietnamese culture games were missing from the world map of board games. They decided to make their own. This card game is called Lên Mâm, which celebrates Southern-style cuisine by having players cook a Lunar New Year feast.
Yeah. Lần mâm. Lần nồi. Đục cái bếp lò và bắt đầu làm mới.
Cái nguyên liệu để làm nên cái món ăn thì mình cảm thấy là thú vị nhất. Qua cái trò chơi này thì mình biết được rằng là để làm cái món ăn đấy thì mình cần những gì. Biết đâu là sau này thì có thể là mình có cơ hội để mà thực hành cái món ăn đó.
So I've been in Vietnam a little over 3 years now. And some specific new things were some of the ingredients in the game, like tôm khô củ kiệu. So I think people who have had some Vietnamese cuisine or have been to Vietnam, it could be a great game for them to learn a little bit more about the culture.
Well, it's quite interesting seeing some new dishes. There were some things that I'd never seen before. The design of the cards is very easily understandable, very easily readable. And it was a really fun game to play and helped me learn a bit more about especially southern Vietnam.
Boasting original gameplay, these Vietnamese board games help players learn about the culture while having fun. If Lên Mâm resembles a local ingredient dictionary, Hội Phố tells the stories of foreign traders in Hội An ancient town in the 17th century. Meanwhile, Kinh Lược was inspired by the Nguyễn Lot's land expansion.
Thì từ trước đến nay, những cái quốc gia như là châu Âu, Mỹ, Nhật, Đài Loan, họ đã sử dụng board game như là cái phương tiện để truyền bá văn hóa của họ đến với thế giới. Việc Việt Nam mình Việt hóa một game của quốc tế là mình du nhập cái văn hóa của họ và giới thiệu ở Việt Nam. Và mình hy vọng là game thuần Việt có thể làm chính xác những điều như vậy thông qua những cái tựa game thuần Việt mà lấy câu chuyện, kể câu chuyện văn hóa Việt Nam. Thì thông qua những bộ trò chơi như vậy, họ có thể biết thêm nhiều thứ mà gần như là có thể họ sẽ không đọc được trên sách vở, hoặc họ buộc phải đi đến Việt Nam để mà họ biết.
With positive reception, Vietnamese creators hope to promote their culture further through board games, which are often played by urban youth at home or game cafes. Some games have been introduced to large markets such as Japan, Singapore, and Taiwan, China. BoardGameGeek.com, the world-leading board game community, lists Hội Phố among its 130,000 games. But there are still works to do so that international friends know more about Vietnamese board games.
Board game là một cái thứ rất là thú vị ở chỗ là nó có thể chỉ cho con người ta nhiều điều thông qua việc chơi, bởi vì đấy là một cái cách như kiểu một cách học rất là trực quan. Khi người ta chơi, người ta vô tình sẽ nhớ vào trong đầu. Đôi khi là những cái người nước ngoài người ta chơi, người ta sẽ dần dần người ta tò mò về những cái thứ mà người ta nhìn thấy ở trong game. Và đấy là một bước thành công cho cái việc quảng bá văn hóa rồi. Mình rất là mong là có thể lúc nào đấy mình sẽ có một cái hội chợ mà toàn game tiếng Việt, toàn game Việt Nam, thế giới người ta sẽ chú ý đến mình và cái văn hóa của mình sẽ được truyền bá ra rộng rãi.
In the meantime, more made in Vietnam board games are being developed, including a game about Chu Đậu pottery, an ancient pottery line. Vietnam's Hạ Long Bay, a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and the commune culture in Vietnam will also be featured in future games.
And that is the end of our program. If you'd like to catch us online, download the VTVgo app from your Google Play or App Store, or tune in our YouTube channel at youtube.com/VTV4go for more of our programs. And don't forget to join us next week for another episode of Culture Mosaic. Goodbye for now.